Hello and welcome back. This is a video on creating charts in Tableau. We're going to recreate this Excel dashboard that we made, but now we'll do it using Tableau. I'm going to have these 5 charts. The data is downloaded from Canvas. This is what it looks like. One thing to notice on the data is that the headers start on row 3, and up in cell A1 there is a value that's the order details for 2014. Okay, close down your file. And then we'll go out to Tableau, open Tableau, the desktop version. And we're going to connect out to the data. It's a Microsoft Excel file. Navigate to where you have downloaded the data. And Tableau will give you a preview of the data. It does the best it can to try to interpret the data. This top row is where the header names should be. And I just get these generic like field 5, field 3. And notice that I have order details for 2014. That was cell A1 in the file that I tried to open. I want Tableau to try opening this again and to dig a little deeper to look for the headers. So click Use Data Interpreter and it will reload the data this time. It found all of the header names and the data comes in, and it skipped over that title that would the order details for 2014. You can scroll along and see a preview of what the data looks like. Notice that Tableau has also determined for each column a data type. So this is a text data type. This one with the globe is a geography data type, something that could be put on a map. And when I get over to unit price, numerical data, numbers, so price, quantity, revenue, shipping fee, all of that is number data. Okay, to start using the data, you go to the worksheet by opening up sheet number 1. You'll see all the tables that are available. These are the dimensions at the top, essentially the header names, things that can't be added or aggregated. And then below, all of the fields that are measure names, the things that came through as numbers, the quantity, the price, and the shipping fee, so on. To create our first chart, we're going to do sales by salesperson. So I want to take salesperson, that's a dimension, and you can click and drag it into rows. This looks an awful lot like a pivot table at this point. If you take revenue, if you drag it onto this ABC field, the text field, you create a data table that's called a text chart. And the revenue ends up down here with a T by it saying that it's a text chart. But if you take the revenue and instead drag it up into the columns, then I get a bar chart. I want to change the color. So all of the marks field here, that's anything that you want to mark up over on your chart. Change the color to green. I'm going to put labels on the outside. Take revenue and drag it onto the label field. But this is currency. I would like it to show up with a $sign on it. And I want, every time I use the revenue, I want it to be $signs. So if I go down to the measure names and take revenue and click it, this will be off your screen, but there's default properties and then number format. So default properties, then number format. Currency standard doesn't give you the option to customize it. So currency custom, I can get rid of the decimal places. The prefix will put in a $sign. Hit OK. Okay, now that they're labeled, I can click on this axis and do a right click. It's called a header. So remove the header. On this salesperson label, right click, hide the field labels for the rows. For the sheet name, I'm going to go down to the tab and rename it. This is Sales by Salesperson. Then it shows up in my title area, and double click on the title and I can edit. Let's select the whole thing, change the font to Tableau Medium, make it bold, and center it. Apply, and OK. Comparing to our model, I want to put 2014 in the title, and I want it sorted. So to sort, that's up here at the top, these two icons. I want to sort with the largest one at the top. Done. And then if I edit back in here after the sheet name, space, hyphen, space, and 2014. Apply that. Okay. Okay, we'll call that one good. Let's do our next one. Next will be the top 5 customers in 2014. So let's open a new worksheet. And I'm going to call it top customers. So I want to get the customer name, and you can either drag it into the rows, or let me take that back off. If I double click on it, then Tableau looks at it and says she probably wants rows. And then I want to do this by revenue. So take revenue, drag it into the columns. There's my bar chart. I want to sort it and take off the field labels and take off the header. So that's a right click, get rid of show header, put labels on there, and I want the label to be the revenue. I have options. If I put customer name on the label, and see the customer name comes out here. I don't want that, so I'm going to drag it back off. Instead, I want revenue to go on the label. And again, it has kept the dollars, it's kept the currency formatting. Now I want to limit it to the top 5. Limiting is a filter, so I'm going to filter, and the customer names are what's going to get filtered. So filter the customer name. Up on the top, you've got top, and by field, and change 10 to a 5, and apply. Close that down. Now I only see the top 5 customers. Let's double click on the title, select the sheet name, change it to Tableau Medium, make it bold. I want to add a space, hyphen, and 2014, and center it. Let's compare. It needs to be yellow. That's color, change to yellow. And now for the size of the bars, that will depend on the size of the container that we put the sheet into on the dashboard. So for what I've got right now, that's good to go. And we'll move on to the next one. Sales by region. This one is a vertical chart. Let me open up a new sheet and we'll call it sales by region. I want my region name. I'll double click there. And then for sales, that's revenue. If I put revenue up here, I get again a bar chart, but I want it to be turned. I want it to be vertical. So if you move revenue down to the rows and region up to the columns, that will do it. There's also an icon right here, this one, to switch the rows and the columns. If you click on that, it goes from a bar chart to a vertical chart. Okay, let's make a few adjustments here. I want to have labels on my bars that will be revenue, so drag revenue onto label. And remove the axis, so take off the show header, take off the region label, double click on your title, select it, change to Tableau Medium, make it bold, make it centered, hit OK. If I go from standard view to an entire view, and see how the labels at the top switched orientation. And last will be the color, orange. So come back to your chart, go to color, choose an orange. Perfect. Last one. This one is the count of transactions by the invoice amount. So this is where we had how many invoices were for $1,000 or less. How many invoices were more than 1,000 but less than 2,000. This one's a little bit trickier. Follow through carefully. Here we go. Open up a new sheet. This will be transaction count or count of transactions. For this sheet, I'm going to double click on revenue. Double clicking puts it in rows and it defaults to aggregating by using a total sum. So if you hover over it, total sum of all the transactions combined, 435,000. But I want to break that down into separate bins. So if I go back to the revenue and I use the drop down, I can create and then go to bins. I want my bins to be in thousands and hit OK. And now I have this new dimension up here that's revenue bins. And if I put that into the columns, it breaks out the revenue in bins of 1,000. And if I hover over it, it doesn't show me how many transactions there were. It shows me the total sum of all the transactions. So all of the invoices that were for less than $1,000, if you take those and add them all up, you have $104,000 of those smaller invoice amounts. But I don't want the total sum. I want to know how many. That's up in the rows where we change the aggregation. Instead of the sum of the revenue, go to the measure and change it to a count for each and every one. Okay, so now I have all of these bins. That looks more like what I expected the graph to look like. And now if I hover over, see, it's the count of the revenue. So I want to label that. Let's put revenue on for the label. But that gave me the sum of the revenue. I can come here and drop down and change it from sum to a count. So far we've learned to create bins and to change from a sum to a count. But now I want to know, how do I combine these last 11 bins all into a single bin that's for everything more than 4,000. To do this, go back to revenue. We're going to create what's called a calculated field. We're going to do some coding. So first we'll give it a name. This is going to be our custom bins. We're going to start with, we can delete this and put it back in. If, and then when you start to type revenue, the one that's highlighted, if you tab it, it will come up and it's got the square brackets around it and revenue. That's the revenue field, all the values of revenue. If the revenue amount is less than 1,000, then, and now type what we want to have shown. I want to show 0 to $999. Return. Else if the revenue, and you can either start to type revenue and then tab and bring it in, or you could type the whole thing out, and when you type your final end bracket, it changes the coloring to let you know that it recognizes that as a field. If that's less than 2,000, then we'll do 1,000 to 1999. And I need double quotes here. There we go. New line. Else if. And if it's highlighted and I tab it, it comes in capitals, but it doesn't matter. Either way, it'll read it correctly. Else if revenue is less than 3,000, then have it be quotes, $2,000 to $29.99. So on each step, it filters out everything less than 1,000 got removed in the first line. Anything more than 1,000 but less than 2,000 got filtered out in the second line. Else if the revenue is less than 4,000, then my label will be 3,000 to $39.99. Final bracket, no more conditions, else. So for all other things, just give $4,000 plus. And the quotes. Now down here, you'll see that my calculation contains errors. And that's because every time you do one of these codings, you have to end it with end. And when I put that on, now the calculation is valid. And hit OK. And that created this new custom bins. So instead of having the regular bins that were created in the revenue, let me drag that off. I can put custom bins in. And now I have the labels changed and the numbers are showing up here on the count. Okay, change to entire view. I see the labels a little bit better. Since they're already labeled, I can take off the header. Let me double click, change the title. This is count of transaction by invoice amount. And take the whole thing, make it Tableau medium and bold and centered. OK. Well, custom bins, I can right click and hide that field label. That looks good. I need to make my sales trend and then we can put it all together. New worksheet. This is my sales trend. And for the sales trend, I want to have revenue by date. So let me take the order date and put it in rows. And right now it only shows years, but if I drop down, use the drop down box, there's year, quarter, month, day, and then there's another year, quarter, month, day. They're labeled slightly differently and they work just slightly differently. We want the second one, this lower one. And let me change that up to columns is what I meant. There we go. Columns, and then double click on the revenue. And you have your timeline. Let's put labels that will be the revenue amounts. Take revenue and drag it onto label. Then I can remove the header to the right. And the numbers I would like to format so that they're like 31K instead of the entire number. So on my labels, let me go to the drop down and format. It brings up the format, the sum of revenue, and in the pane here for the numbers, make a custom number. Display units in thousands. So now I have 30.85 with 1,000. I don't need the decimal places, so I'll take those off. And I would like a dollar sign for a prefix. That looks good. Let me do my sales trend. It was hyphen and 2014. And make all of it Tableau medium, bold, and centered. Okay. Let me compare. Let me clean up this axis labels a little bit, and we'll put 2014 sales trend for our title. So let's get 2014 sales trend. So that would be remove that from behind and put it in front. And to clear the month of order date, so I don't want to remove the entire header. I want those month names to be there. I just don't want this label. So select it and right click, and we're going to edit the axis. And we have the title, and click on this and just delete out the title and then close it down. And that cleaned that up. Let's put this all together in a dashboard. So click on create a new dashboard. I'm creating this dashboard on the default layout, the 420 by 560. And I want to have overall a vertical container with the sales trend up at the top and then 2 horizontal containers beneath it. So drop in a vertical container with your sales trend at the top, and then take a horizontal container and drop 1, 2 of them in. So I've got vertical container, horizontal, horizontal. In the horizontal container, I'll put the sales by salesperson and then sales by region. So notice that because I have a horizontal container, I can drop it into just the right half of this container to create that separation. And now down in my other horizontal container, I can put the top customers and the count by transaction. This looks good. Let's adjust it just a little bit. I've got everything set for entire view. If it's not filling the space, go back and make sure that it's set for entire view. Actually, I need a wider setting, don't I? Let's make the width 980. That already looks better. And then let's go to the dashboard and format it. Put a blue shading behind it. Pretty close, I'd say. The count by transaction amount, that is just, my titles are too big. Let me make them a little bit smaller. Maybe down to 12 point. Yeah, I like that. And then do all of these 12 point. I'll keep that one big. It looks like an overall dashboard title. And then let me clear out the format, bring up a blank container or a text box, excuse me, a text container. I'm going to go completely over this side, and it's this space for future slicers, which are filters. And then on any chart, instead of having slicers, this time we're going to do something slightly different, which is we're going to use the chart as a filter. If I select the sales by salesperson, then I can bring up this third icon is a filter, and I can use this sheet as a filter. If I click on that, then if I want to see Ann Larson's sales, click on her, and everything in the dashboard updates to show just her. Or Michael, or hold down the control key and you can select several at a time. And to clear it, you click on the bar again and then click on it once more to clear it completely, or you can click out in the open space. I also want to be able to filter by the region, so use that sheet as a filter. So if I want to look at just the South region, only Ann Larson and Company BB were part of the South region sales. Click on it again to remove it, or you can click out in the open space. Okay, take your file, give it a name, and then save it to Tableau Public, and then get your URL and upload it into Canvas. Good work.